This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibler. Thanks for joining us. It is now time for Tech Briefs. To do so, we are now joined by Ken Yeung. Hello, Ken.
Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Going well. Have so much to talk about, as always. I know I say it every week, but let's get down to it. There is something this week, though, in particular, that was huge, and that was Tesla unveiling the Cybertruck, which we saw Elon Musk tease this a couple of weeks ago. We've been talking about it. It's been anticipated for a long time, but finally getting to see this Tesla, their version of a pickup truck, unveiled. Now, they've got competition. Ford's working on theirs. They're going to have the F-150. Chevy's got one. Rivian's got one. But Tesla, nobody has a design quite like this one. And I think that right out of the gate, we're going to talk about the internal side of it, but the design itself is such an Elon Musk thing to do. And it's with that weird trapezoid shape. It's got, instead of the bed of the truck, they're calling it the vault. How do you feel about the design? Let me just ask your opinion really quick.
The design-wise it's not for me. I think it's not the most horrible design, but it's not something that I particularly prefer. I guess I prefer more of the traditional style. But look, as you said, this is Elon Musk. This is Tesla. They're not going to do something that everyone else is doing. They're going to change it up and be futuristic. This is something you would expect to see on Mars. In the Matt Damon movie, The Martian. This is like the rover that you're going to see out in space, but here on Earth. So this is it's a heavy duty vehicle, and it's certainly going to compete with the Ford F-150 and everybody else that wants a pickup truck that's using it for trucking lumber or tools or furniture or whatever else you need. So this is pretty interesting. It's more probably environmentally friendly. That is powered entirely by electricity. But of course, as you see here, there's certain hiccups that emerged with the unveiling. As you see right now, they're beating up a door with a sledgehammer, and they have this super duper armor-plated glass, Tesla armor, which was supposed to be shatter resistant, but unfortunately was not. So investors and people saw this, and that was pretty much the embarrassing part of the evening for Tesla.
Yeah, they did. They threw a couple steel balls at the glass and it just broke them. And then for the rest of the show, Elon Musk had to stand in front of that with that part of it. A couple of things, though, talking about the vehicle itself. Now, you mentioned it competing with an F-150, and the price is actually pretty good. It's starting at $39,900, which is very competitive, if not lower than some of those same vehicles that it's competing against, up to, let's see, a 14,000-pound towing capacity, which is better than an F-150 in most cases. There's a third version, so there's 3 different levels that you can buy into. The third level, the highest one, has up to a 500-mile range, which that definitely addresses, I feel like, a lot of concerns for average pickup truck drivers, like, well, how far can this thing go? Can I go off-roading? Am I safe out, if I want to take it out for a long drive in the middle of nowhere? 500 miles is definitely going to get that for you. So, as far as the internals and that actual side of it, it's pretty good. It really does stand up based on what they said. Again, this is with just what they're revealing, so assuming that all of this is true. It does stand up to that, but I think that look is going to be a huge issue, and I feel like the big takeaway from this for me is this going to be something that average pickup truck driver, and I keep saying that, but that really is. That's the market you're going for, right? You want Joe with his F-150. Is Joe going to want to drive this thing? Is Joe going to be ready to take this kind of strange, weird design, or is this just going to be for real Tesla aficionados?
So I think what Tesla is going full out on is the price point. Yes, the base price of nearly $40,000 is nothing to shy away from. That's actually pretty affordable for those that want pickup trucks, especially those that are using it more for laborious type of activities. For average individuals like myself, I probably wouldn't get that unless I really want a pickup truck. But I think people are very have an affinity for their brands, especially when it comes to cars. There's not that much turnover. So Ford has a dominating market share in terms of pickups. The F-150 is one of the top pickup trucks in the market. So I think what Tesla has to do is try and find ways to find an angle into the Detroit market, because Detroit is dominating in terms of pickups. So, and look, I think people want Ford, they want their Chevys, they want their GMs, but they recognize that individuals want to have more environmentally friendly vehicles that, they don't want a gas guzzler that, will get like, dozens of miles to the gallon versus something that can take them 500 miles per charge. And which is, nothing to, that's unheard of for people that are using pickup trucks.
Right.
So the fact that they can do that without and save on time and cost, that's going to be pretty significant. But the look is going to be something that's going to be something people are going to be looking at again, whether or not that's something that's worth their time, what they want to be seen at. But the cargo space is certainly something of importance for people compared to the F-150, the distance and overall price, and the fact that, if you're going to pay up to $60,000 or more for this vehicle that has 3 engines and up to 500 miles per charge, is that something worth paying for outright versus getting the F-150?
Right. I mean, the apples to apples comparison when it comes to the actual stats of the thing, I mean, it's right up there, if not better, definitely competitive with it. So we'll have to see how people like the design. Regardless, I always love it when something like this comes out, whether it's successful or not isn't something I have to worry about. I love innovation. I love looking at it. I love the showmanship of it. I thought it was a really fun event and definitely neat to see. We got a couple other things we need to get to too. Google Stadia, now that we've had a little bit of time on that since it's come out. This is Google's move towards streaming online gaming. It was supposed to change up the industry, has Sony scared, had Microsoft scared. Everybody's going to want to do it, and it has not rolled out so smoothly. So a couple of issues. We had some articles go up about this. One being how much data it utilized. And during a test that we had, it used, if you wanted to stream at 4K gaming, 10 gigs per hour of data. You're going to destroy your data cap at a certain point if you're really a hardcore gamer or even just a moderate gamer at that level of data. So that's a big issue. And then also another thing with that streaming and all that data is that for a lot of people, if you want to stream to your television, you have to use a Chromecast Ultra Stick, which comes with one of the bundle packages. They were overheating. They couldn't handle the streaming gaming. Not a great rollout so far for Google Stadia.
Yeah, I think the phrase when you say, "Oh, something's on fire," I mean that's kind of like, hey, it's really, really good. In this case, that's probably not the right analogy to use for Google Stadia. I mean, look, this is so hyped, very similar to a lot of these other services that are coming out these days. Google Stadia, like I was really impressed by the launch, and I was tempted to buy into maybe the Founders Edition and play these type of games, and Google had really touted the fact that, look, you're going to be able to play these games no matter what device you are, no matter where you are. It's going to be there's low latency. It's going to be very it's going to be top notch, top quality. And when it actually launched, the reviews all were contrary to what Google had promised. So the quality, you're supposed to get 1080p or 4K. You did not get that for some games. Of course, now you mentioned that it's a data hog. The fact that it's 10 gigs an hour, which is, look, I think if you really want to put to the test the fact that you have unlimited data on your wireless plan or even with your ISP. I'm pretty sure someone's going to get mad at you, or you're going to find soon after you stop playing, you're going to be, you're going to have your data very, very much like slowed down significantly.
Yeah.
So this is something when you factor in 5G, this is really going to be a data hog, and you're going to wind up the overall cost, the long-term cost could be something that most people don't account for when you want to play Stadia.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's kind of surprising that they didn't think through some of this beforehand, but that is where we're at with right now. So this is Google Stadia with their rollout, and you can read more about it everywhere, Digital Trends or Flipboard. Those are the two places you should go. But you can read more about it on there. And there's more competition coming. Amazon's going to be launching their service most likely sometime next year. That's rumored. You've got Xbox working on it, PlayStation working on it. So we'll see where that space goes. But that's where we're at right now with Google Stadia. One other thing to get to this week, just quickly here as we start to run low on time, is talking about Uber and an announcement that they have where in order for your security to help make your rides more secure for both the driver and the passenger, there's a test they're going to be doing in the United States of recording audio of you in the car. There's a lot of diciness with this as far as how they're going to roll it out, whether who can consent to who, whether this is what people want. But it's an interesting move by Uber. I question how many people actually want this.
So I think Uber is plagued by security issues,
Right.
more with safety issues. There's been lots of reports of drivers committing crimes or potential damages that have occurred. So this is something to kind of reassure the public that, look, your driver's going to be safe. And of course, we can go back to what the old, what the taxi industry is saying. Look, our taxi drivers are bonded. They're insured versus Uber drivers who are not necessarily licensed and to do livery type of services.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is on one hand, this is an interesting proposal and an experiment by Uber. But let's be clear, this is not something that will definitely be rolling out. This is something that Uber says that they're considering, and obviously, there's a lot of factors to include, especially when it comes to wiretapping laws and recording laws. The consent aspect of things. Not every state will allow you to record somebody unless both parties agree to that. Some are one-party agreement, some are two-party agreement.
Right.
There are some that are saying the audio. So Uber is also saying that the audio will not be available to either the driver or the passenger. And now when you factor in the video side, that's equally something of concern as well. But how many people get into an Uber and, do they talk shop, or they talk about something that they're, may not necessarily they should be talking about in public, but they do willingly in the back of an Uber. This is something that most people probably won't consider when they're getting in. It's like, oh,
right,
let's talk about this super secret stuff, and then get in an Uber, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, everyone, shut up. We can't talk about this because we're in an Uber.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird feeling on that. Yeah, as far as how people can handle that.
Yeah, so I think this is something. Look, on the one hand, yes, they need to make the ride safer. Whether or not this is the way to go,
yeah,
I don't know. They have made some improvements overall in terms of safety features and
right.
Sharing location down 911 if you don't feel safe. And certainly they need to do more background checks with their drivers and a lot of other things. Whether this is the way to go, I don't know. But interesting thing, we could actually see the next, remember at the time where Uber co-founder Travis Kalanick got caught berating a driver.
Right.
The driver had a video recording device. So, I mean,
it could be something along those lines too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some pros and cons to these type of things, to witness these type of things.
Well, right now, this looks like it's rolling out in Latin America. They're going to be testing it. And then they said they're going to bring it to the U.S. soon for testing, whatever that means. It's going to be a little bit of a dicey move. But that's what we've got for you. So, again, this is Tech Briefs here every single week. If you're watching live on video, hit subscribe to the podcast. That's another great way to keep up to date with everything. Ken, as always, thanks for being here. Always fun to talk about tech.
Thanks, Greg. Really appreciate it.